Hello there. I'm Mad Mike. For those just joining me, welcome. For those joining me again, welcome back. Alright, it's time to wrap up this year's Halloween. And what better way to end it than one more telling of the legendary character, Dracula. Last time, I reviewed Universal's Dracula, which is probably one of the most iconic pieces of cinema and telling of the story. And it's not hard to see why, as it gave us a great gothic atmosphere, and Bela Lugosi truly nailed the role as Dracula. However, like Universal's Frankenstein, the story doesn't quite match Bram Stoker's novel. Granted, it's a bit closer compared to the two, but not quite there. Well, now, I'm going to be reviewing a movie today that's far closer to the original novel. Still not quite there yet, though. Directed by Francis Ford Coppola in 1992, Bram Stoker's Dracula is a retelling of the original novel, where the vampire Dracula haunts the small English town of Whitby. With the aid of Abraham Van Helsing, a small group try to stop the fiend before he takes the life of one of their dear friends. Like I said, the film follows the novel much more than Universal's. Plus, we really get to see some of the more gory and macabre elements of Stoker's original novel, something the 1931 film couldn't quite do at the time. Unfortunately, this film still doesn't quite hit the mark. But, what does this film do that allows it to be far closer to the original telling of Dracula? Only one way to find out. This is Bram Stoker's Dracula. Let's review. So the film begins giving us a backstory to Dracula.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Well put, because in the original novel, Dracula has no backstory. Astounding. The movie literally just started and it's already deviated. So, the backstory here is that Vlad Dracula, played by Gary Oldman, has gone to fight off the Turks that are invading his home country. He is victorious and leaves the victims of his slaughter on spikes.
They had it coming.
However, due to a cruel trick by the Turks, Dracula's wife Elizabeta commits suicide after she is given a false note saying that he is dead. In anger, Dracula renounces God by stabbing the cross within his cathedral. What the hell? Why is everything bleeding? What, was this place also designed by the people who designed the Overlook Hotel in The Shining? We then cut to hundreds of years later, where we meet Jonathan Harker, played by Keanu Reeves. Before he was America's sweetheart. Jonathan is going off to Transylvania to meet with Count Dracula. Before he leaves, he meets with his fiancée Mina, played by Winona Ryder.
Jonathan, I love you.
I love you, Mina.
You can hear it in our voices. I love you. Yeah, so about Keanu Reeves. For whatever reason, the actor got an enormous second wind a few years back, making him one of the top stars of the modern age. And hey, that's a good thing. From what I hear, the man deserves it. However, in his early career, well, let's just say a mahogany desk could put on a better performance.
Of course, sir. I'll attend to the Count.
We can be married when I return. I see a resemblance.
Mahogany.
Also, I have to say, this movie has spectacular effects and cinematography. Almost every shot is truly a piece of art, and you'll likely never forget it. A perfect example is when Jonathan is on his way to the castle. In the background, we see a shot of Dracula's eyes in the sky, almost as if he's watching him and waiting his arrival. It's super eerie and gorgeous, showing us that this will be a sight to behold. Jonathan eventually arrives at the castle, where Dracula awaits.
Welcome to my home.
is the designer for Dracula. That is one of the stupidest looks I've ever seen. He looks like, he looks like Emperor Palpatine with a beehive on his head. And what's with the robes? What is the purpose of having them that long? Okay, alright. Now that I don't actually have the giggles, for now, let's talk about Dracula as a character. So first off, he doesn't look like this the entire movie, just the beginning, so I think I can be a bit forgiving. Second, character-wise, Gary Oldman truly nails the role. Oldman is a truly talented actor and a man of 100 faces. No matter what role he is playing, he always manages to give us something good, even when he hams it up. This is no exception. He truly does a great job as Dracula, giving us the perfect blend of charming and elegant, yet intimidating and evil. As the two discuss business, he looks like Colin Mockery putting on a wig for questions. Dracula notices a locket that has a picture of Mina, who resembles Elisabetta. Must have been played by the same actress.
I was married once. Ages ago, it seems. She died.
Oh. I'm very sorry.
Mahogany.
Jonathan is asked to stay another month as Dracula prepares to move to England. We then cut back to Mina and her friend Lucy, played by Sadie Frost. As it happens, Lucy is a young lady with not one, not two, but 3 waiting suitors.
Girl's a slut.
Well, to Lucy's credit, she's got a good taste in guys. They're all technically main characters after all. The first is a Texan named Quincy Morris, played by Billy Campbell. The second is a lord named Arthur Holmwood, played by Carrie Ellis. Finally, we have Dr. Jack Seward, played by Richard P. Grant. And yes, Dr. Seward in the novel was actually one of Lucy's suitors, not Mina's father. Also, as we continue to introduce characters, we meet Renfield, played by Tom Waits. Like in previous stories, he is a servant under the command of Dracula, obsessed with eating small animals. However, unlike the novel, Renfield goes to visit Dracula first, causing him to go insane, which is why Jonathan goes in his place. We then come back to some time after Jonathan has been at the castle. As he's shaving, Dracula appears. He looks like Joe Biden trying on a new haircut because he thinks it'll be hip with the kids, and helps him with the shave.
Listen to them. What sweet music they make.
Music. Those animals.
Hey, are you insulting the musical genius of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and Johann Sebastian Bach? Jonathan eventually wanders the castle and stumbles upon a room where Dracula's wives are waiting for him. Oh, and I probably can't show this scene on YouTube, so I'll just show you the Dracula Dead and Loving It version. Trust me, it'll be close enough.
Wrong my brains out.
Dracula then imprisons Jonathan and heads off to England. And, I guess I can talk about this now. If the narrative and scene transitions have seemed a little clunky to anyone watching the movie, allow me to explain. You see, the structure of the original novel is done in the form of letters and news articles of the events happening in the story. This gives several different takes and perspectives from all sorts of characters in the novel, causing moments to jumble around a bit. This film tries to replicate that, and in an artistic way it works. However, in a storytelling manner, it's kind of a mess. Once in England, Dracula first attacks Lucy in the form of a monstrous wolf-like beast. Once again, I can't show this, so I'm just gonna let Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson show you how it went down. Thanks for the time, baby. I'll give you a call soon. Dracula then appears before Mina in London, looking much younger and posing as Prince Vlad. Oh, and for those wondering as to why Dracula can be around during the day, well, here's the thing. That was always more of a movie thing, and something that often correlated to other vampire stories. You see, the original character of Dracula couldn't be killed by sunlight, only by driving a stake through his heart and cutting off his head. However, daytime instead weakens most of Dracula's powers, such as making him unable to transform.
Everybody got that?
The two take a tour of the town, where Dracula attempts to seduce Mina while a movie is being displayed.
God, who are you? I know you.
I think I've seen you before. Weren't you in Lost in Space? I don't like to talk about that. Here, be distracted by cute Wolfie. Due to Lucy's deteriorating health, Dr. Seward calls upon his mentor, Abraham Van Helsing, played this time by Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Thank you. Gentlemen, thank you. That will be all.
Hey, I didn't get a harump out of that guy. Give Abraham Van Helsing a harump.
Harumph!
Van Helsing arrives just as Lucy is getting attacked yet again. In order to save her, Van Helsing performs a blood transfusion.
My life is hers. I would give my last drop of blood to save her.
Your last drop? Thank you. You're very welcome here.
You've won my heart!
The group then ponders what could have caused Lucy's blood loss, with Van Helsing revealing that it was the work of a vampire.
Mesmerism, hypnotism,
You and Chocolate
electromagnetic
proved hypnotism.
fields, materialization, astral bodies.
Where the hell did he go?
You see?
Somebody told Anthony Hopkins that he was playing Van Helsing and not Dracula, right? Mina once again visits Dracula. Believing she is the reincarnation of Elizabeta, Dracula attempts to stir old memories.
Face. It's a river.
Okay, I know Dracula is actually crying because Mina is recounting the death of his lover, but it kind of looks like he's also trying to stifle laughter. Lol, I was just thinking of what I was wearing earlier. My god, I looked like Willem Dafoe with honeycomb. Jonathan escapes Dracula's castle and seeks sanctuary in a monastery. A letter is then sent to Mina asking her to come and marry him.
The darkness is in life, my child, and there are lights. And you are one of the lights, dear Mina.
Gonna ask again. Somebody told Anthony Hopkins that he wasn't playing Dracula, right? With encouragement from Lucy, Mina heads off to see Jonathan in Transylvania. Meanwhile, Van Helsing dives deep into Lucy's condition and makes a discovery.
It is Dracula, the undead. It's the foe I have pursued all my life.
I have been wanting his autograph for years, but he never gave it to me. However, Dracula discovers that Mina has gone to marry Jonathan. In a rage, he kills Lucy, turning her into a vampire. Now it's up to Van Helsing, Seward, Morris, and Homewood to lay Lucy to rest for good. Well, looks like William Friedkin is gonna sue. Once Mina and Jonathan return home, Van Helsing questions Jonathan about his experience at Dracula's castle.
During your infidelity with those creatures, those demonic women, did you for one instant taste of their blood?
Hoping to protect Mina, they hide her inside Dr. Seward's sanatorium. However, Renfield has some words of warning for Mina.
My mouth tells me about you.
What does he tell you?
That he is coming.
Well, that's rude. He should leave that kind of talk in the bedroom. The group grows to try to find Dracula, but he escapes to the asylum, killing Renfield in the process. He then approaches Mina and tells her the truth. And this is actually a very touching scene and an interesting dive into Dracula's character. It's a small moment, but Dracula nearly hesitates to seduce Mina and have her drink his blood, which would turn her into a vampire once she dies. He hesitates though because he knows that Mina isn't really his lover, and he also doesn't want to doom her to his fate. Mina, however, still under his spell and beginning to remember her past life, insists that he go through with it. Though Mina is now infected, Dracula is forced to flee back to Transylvania because Van Helsing destroyed his resting place at Carfax Abbey. Using a telekinetic link between Mina and Dracula, the group form a plan to kill him for good.
The Count's ship sailed past us in the night fog to the northern port of Galatz. The Black Devil is reading Mina's mind.
Well, of course he is. What, you think Mina was only a one-way radio? Van Helsing and Mina head to Dracula's castle ahead of everyone, while our hunters attempt to head Dracula off at Borgo Pass.
head them off at the pass. I hate that cliche.
However, Dracula's wives attempt to drink Van Helsing's blood, even using Mina as a means to seduce him. Sworn protector, everybody. Of course, Van Helsing does come to his senses. He wards the brides off and, in the morning, kills them for good. Perfect timing, too. The climax is coming their way.
Atomic batteries to power! Turbines to speed! They're getting away! Hold on to your feet!
They eventually catch up with Dracula, where Quincy manages to stab Dracula in the heart at the cost of his life. However, Mina then demands they back off, wanting to finish Dracula herself. Something that didn't happen in the book. Mina brings the dying Dracula back to the church where he renounced God, where he gives some final words before she finishes him off.
Give me peace.
Hey, she didn't let him finish. He was gonna say he wanted a piece of that ass. Thus, Dracula is dead, and Mina is lifted from the curse. The end. And that was Bram Stoker's Dracula, also known as Coppola's Dracula. Overall, it's a mixed bag. It's definitely a trip in a lot of ways. The cinematography and the editing is very stunning, giving a truly artistic beauty to the whole film. It's also pretty close to the book for the most part, with the exception of the rather unnecessary subplot of Dracula's origin story. Gary Oldman and Anthony Hopkins also give us some stellar performances. However, it's also kind of clunky narratively, everyone else doesn't give us as an outstanding performance, especially Reeves, and as mentioned before, Dracula having an origin story that translates into the current story is kinda needless. Not to mention, I would have fired whoever designed Dracula in his first appearance. Is it a bad watch? Overall, no. There's definitely a lot of good to it. That being said, I also think it's an acquired taste. So, if you want to sink your teeth into something different, then go ahead and give it a look. Thank you for joining me this Halloween season. Until the next film, farewell.